Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you another narrated Age of Empires 3 match. Today is a 3v3 on Decan, and the teams are very even. There's a second lieutenant on both teams, accompanied by two master sergeants. I am one of the master sergeants on my team, and I would like to humbly suppose that this gives our team a little bit of an advantage, because when I play well, I think I play way beyond the master sergeant level. So it's right off the bat getting the game going. There's a little bit of latency to begin, or lag, so it's actually kind of nice. I'm able to kind of micromanage and select my villagers to each go to a different crate, make sure that the starting is as good as possible, that villagers don't waste their time bumping into each other. I'm able to select my explorer to go start working on the treasure, and make sure that I, of course, do not pick up those coin crates. Now, right off the bat, I do know that I'm Russian, there's a Russian on the other team, so a huge part of my goal is going to be to outplay him, and I think that's an aspect of competition in games like this, where even though, yes, there is the whole team game win or lose, if there's just you and another person, you do want to perform better than them for your team, because at the end of the day, while you want your entire team to win, sometimes all that matters is knowing that you yourself played well. Of course, the game is, incredibly competitive and whatever, but I'm just saying, score comparison, I definitely want to do better than the person playing the Russian civilization on the other team, especially since we are the equivalent rank. As you can see, though, getting the crates thrown up, and I thought I had 100 wood. I guess I messed up. I thought I sent a villager to gather wood immediately, but I don't know what I guess hotkeyed my villagers to the beginning. So I'm gonna, whoops, my drink sloshed a little bit there. I'm gonna end up picking my deck and having that villager on berry, but she's just for a very brief amount of time. I really just want to get that 100 wood, build a house, and I'm gonna start walking that villager to the plateau immediately. My thought is, the faster I get that forward blockhouse up, the better off I'll be, the better off my teammate will be, because everybody else will rush to the plateau, but I very rarely see people actually rush to the plateau immediately. So I think that's a good choice. Meanwhile, in group chat, we did talk and confirm I will be going with Strelets. So that's going to kind of be my strategic option. Now, I kind of screwed up here, possibly. I mean, I sent him to walk to the plateau, which wasn't necessarily a bad choice, but I did that knowing that I wanted to put up a blockhouse as fast as possible. However, after gathering the wood, I thought, you know what, I have the wood, I have the coin, why don't I go for an early market? And you know me, I hate going for the market, I hate going for the upgrades. I know the upgrades are incredibly effective and something I need to utilize more, but I am actually, for one game, actually going to go market and hunting dog upgrades immediately. And considering that my first shipment's gonna be Team Furrier, which I'll cover in a minute, it actually is gonna give me, I think, a pretty strong economy very early on. It's definitely a little bit more of an economic build than you're probably used to seeing me play or Russia play in general. But as you can see there, the important side effect of doing that is that now I don't have enough wood, because I've literally spent 150 of my 250 to put up the blockhouse in the middle. So I think I actually lost a little bit of time initially having that villager walk across. However, come to think of it, unless I had him start walking after I clicked up the aging button, there was no way to avoid losing the time of him actually walking across the plateau in terms of food gathering, so probably not the end of the world. But as you can see, if you look at the bottom left hand corner of the screen above the minimap, I do have hunting dogs queued, I have Team Furrier on the way, and I am, of course, making villagers. I did build a house immediately, and I've left my coin crates on the ground, getting things going. Now, I am going to age up with 14 villagers, as opposed to the average or normal expected 11 on Decan. And I say 11 just because it seems like a lot of people on Decan choose to age with 11 rather than 14 or 17. Normally, Russia has this choice of 14 or 17. And if you go 17, it's the standard build. And if you go 14, it's a more aggressive and fast build. But I think on Decan, at least from my own personal observation, because you start with extra crates, it appears to me, and I'm no expert, of course, I'm an average player at best. I think I'm slightly above average, but that's besides the point. But it appears to me that people either choose 11 or 14 villagers, with 14 in this case being the more economical choice and 11 being the more aggressive, faster choice. Now, I'm not a huge fan of aggressive pushes in 3v3s. I often think that waiting for the push to come to you is often way more effective, especially when you do accept that push in an area where you have defensive buildings and fortifications and the whatnot. I think that's a very safe place to be, but that's besides the point. But I do age with 14, and combined with my Team Furrier, and I had bought hunting dogs, and if you notice, I also bought, I believe it's gang saws from the the market as well, which is the first age wood chopping upgrade. So I'm actually in a very strong position to spam Strelets. Now I do end up going for this coin treasure, and we're going to cover that in a little bit minute. And I think I actually possibly made a little bit of a noob mistake, maybe not though. That might be worth saying. But as you can see here, I am waiting until I get the exact amount of wood. The minute I have the amount of wood, I am going to start building. And as you can see, the other players have just gotten their villagers onto the plateau, and as you may or may not be able to tell from the mini-map, we are very close to their side of the plateau. Now I want to grab this 210 coin as fast as I can. I don't want to give the other player a chance to grab it, but it looks like they're not going to be able to. It looks like they only send up villagers, so I'm trying to talk to my teammate and coordinate with him. We want to be able to crack it. I don't have a shot just yet on my guy. I know I've been keeping an eye on it. It's a recharge meter. It's pretty slow. I don't know if aging resets it. I don't believe that aging does or does not. I'm sorry if my voice was wobbling a little bit there. I was rocking my chair back and forth, which is a very bad habit. But as you can see, I say, alright, go, I'm ready. He crack shots one treasure guarding, I crack shot the other, and I walk away thinking he'll grab it because he's going Hussar, but he ends up not, or he's going Musketeer, but he ends up not grabbing it. So I end up grabbing it and then leaving there and running back to my blockhouse. Anyway, as you can see now, blockhouse, a little bit of settler latency there. I'm going to throw up another house. My first shipment in the Colonial Age will actually be 13 Strelets, and I did that for a few reasons. Even though I like to play more economical, I don't think it's wise, especially when I'm late to age. Since I played a pre-economical Discovery Age, I didn't want to go economical into the Colonial Age as well. I'm going to send the 13 Strelets first as a little bit more of a safeguard shipment, and then I might choose a more economical card after that. Probably a questionable choice to say the least. Now I do know at this point I have a little bit too many people on wood relative to food, because in terms of my wood food ratio, I do have the 700 wood card, and I do have 400 wood lying on the floor by my town center from my aging up to the second age with the wood option. So I actually have about 1100 in wood that's not necessarily affected in value. So as of now, I'm doing fine. Now, I do end up choosing to start using a little bit of Musketeers and mixing them in. I do that for a few reasons. One, I do know that I will be suffering from facing some cavalry, so it's definitely going to be wise of me to be prepared for that, and having some Musketeers in definitely protects me. Two, having the Musketeers built in, it uses a coin, and this is what I wanted to discuss. I did get that coin, and I'm wondering in hindsight if it would have been better for me to use that coin to actually purchase the second age food upgrade and possibly the second age wood upgrade. I think that would have been a tremendous boom to my economy rather than some Musketeers. And I think I would have then still have been able to pump out Strelets at the same pace. I might even been able to get another batch out. I'm not 100% sure on that, and I think it played out fine the way it did, but it's something to consider. Was my choice there the most efficient I could have done long term and short term? Short term, though, is where I think it might have been. As you can see, Green does have some Hussar. He'll definitely have some more on the field very shortly. So maybe it was indeed smart for me to get the extra Musketeers on the field as opposed to buying the market upgrades. Now, 5 Cossacks was actually my second shipment in the Colonial, third shipment overall, and I think this was absolutely crucial. Yes, the other Russian player is going Strelets, just as I am indeed going Strelets, so no surprise there. As you can see, though, he does have another batch of Strelets out, so he is actually outmassing me at this initial point, although I do have more batches of Musketeers on the field. So if I hadn't gone Musketeers, I think, could have matched his Strelet numbers or even been above him. Not to mention I have another 10 Strelets about to pop from my town center. As you can see, I tried to run my Cossacks into that massive Strelets, however, I got caught by Green's Hussars, but that's fine. It distracted him. I felt like it kind of spread out their forces a little bit, distracted them enough to the point where our forces standing as unified mass was able to get a lot of damage. I think I'd consider it, I don't think I'd consider peripheral damage. I consider damage from buildings peripheral damage, but it was definitely able to get a lot of damage directly onto them in that skirmish because of our choices. Now I'm going to send 700 wood. Spice trade possibly would have been a stronger choice here, looking at the fact that I'm sitting on nearly 600 wood at the time. But again, at the time, in my head, I thought 700 wood is a very standard build order, allow me to get up a stable if I want to make more Cossacks and do stuff like that. Now, the reason why I sent Cossacks rather than 700 wood was for several reasons. One obviously was if he was spamming Strelets, I did want to be able to get some extra unit diversity in there and get some more attack on him and more pressure. And two, if he wasn't spamming Strelets or they weren't necessarily going to be useful in the direct battle, I wanted to be able to send them to go raid on the peripherals of the other person's town. And I don't mean that as in peripheral damage, but I mean that in literally the edges of their town. I find 2 or 3 second villager raiding to be so effective. It's so hard to concentrate on that, and then their army might get split up, and then it's so much easier for us as a team pushing together to take advantage of them. Now, as you can see there, Blue's playing like a trooper, Teal's playing like a trooper. As Pink, I'm playing pretty decently. I don't think I'm playing phenomenally. I did actually ship that 700 wood to my forward blockhouse rather than the place I normally do, but it's still okay. I have a huge ass mass of units on the field, so it's all going very well. 10 more Strelets coming out, 10 more Strelets marching to the battle. Our push is very good. I think we're doing a stunningly good job here, because what we're doing is we're pushing as a whole. In general, when all 3 people fight together, it's better than 2 people fighting together or fighting them in a wave, because you sustain less damage as a total while sustaining more damage as a whole. Let me explain that. This is actually the key and the most fundamental principle of team games. When you have 3 armies fighting together, and let's say there's 3 other armies, but if you face them as a wave, yes, the first army, the second army, and the third army will inflict damage on the combined army, but the combined army will always be inflicting the total damage output of all 3 armies combined, whereas the first, when it comes in attacks, will only deal the damage of just the first army. So it's going to die relatively quick to the much larger massed force, and then it will be gone, and so on and so forth. So the key to team games is to not only be pushing objectives that will help you win the game, whether it's destroying a forward base, taking out a town center, or taking out a trade post, but it's to be attacking as a whole in a way and a force that the other team is forced to respond to you, but that you are bunched in such a way that they have to respond and they cannot beat you. And if they have to come in waves against you, that's so much better, because then they're not as strong. As you can see here, Orange has 5 Strelets from the home city, 5 Cossacks from the home city, and 10 Strelets on the field. Now, if that was all their armies at once, that would actually be a very big threat. But because his units come, because Red's units came, because the other units came in waves, and because for the most part we were all as a whole fighting in one area, that made us able to deal with big substantial threats relatively simply. And I think we did a phenomenal job, and I think that's what makes a hallmark of a great team. They know they have to work together. But as you can see here, we end up pinning Orange's forces on the cliff. He ends up resigning in this moment, realizing that we're doing a pretty good job, and the game from here on out is pretty mopped up. They're going to start quitting. But I think that's the key idea I'd like you guys to get from the game, that I kind of left from the game thinking about, because I was playing with some 2v2s with Interjection. You guys have all seen his channel. He's a phenomenal Age of Empires player, a really good caster, a personal friend of mine. But if you watch his videos and you know, he's really good at one-on-one, knows what he's doing. And I was playing with him on a 2v2 the other day. You know, we were Skyping, just very casual, friendly stuff. And, you know, he was talking to me, and he's like, man, I just don't know what to do in team game. He's like, I understand the game, I'm really good at the game, but I don't know how to play a team game. And I said, the key to team game, in my opinion, is to attack together in objectives, hit those objectives in a way they have to respond, and beat their army that way. So I think that's a lesson I'd like you guys to learn. If I could teach a lesson in this game, that would indeed be it. However, they all end up resigning here, and the game's out. Now, I'm not going to show you all the chat and go through the post game like I normally do, because I ended up talking to the people in the chat for quite a bit of time. We ended up going back and forth for a lengthy amount of time. Literally, the match is over at 13 minutes 10 seconds, and we ended up talking till about 20 minutes. So I don't want to bring that to you, so I'm just going to cut out to the quote of the day right now, which is of course from Sun Tzu and the Art of War, and it's the place we normally get our quote of the day is from, and it's very good. It says, if we are able to thus attack an inferior force with a superior one, our opponents will be in dire straits. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is BTM, aka Big Thunderman, bringing you your weekly Age of Empires 3 video. I would like to thank you so much for subscribing, for watching. Please be sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you have a question or a request. I'll try to get to them, and I really appreciate all that you guys have done for my channel. You guys mean the world to me. So until next time, guys, good luck and happy hunting. BTM out.